First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. I love that so many people have come today and showed their support to us and just came to say goodbye to such a wonderful young man. He would have loved this. All of these people here just for him so he could be the center of attention. He would have thought this was great. I love to see so many friendly faces, either my work, Anton's work, family, friends, all you guys that were part of his team, the coaches, and so many people that I didn't even know knew him and didn't even know that he touched their lives. He was an extraordinary young man, and he's going to be missed by so many. I wrote a little something that I read yesterday at the wake, but I'll read it again because I'm sure many of you weren't here. I read somewhere that we are born with nothing and we spend our entire lives chasing everything to die with nothing. So we need to make sure that our soul gains more than our hands. Connor worked part-time at No Frills and made just enough to keep him going in McDonald's. Him and Seb's favorite jumbo burrito, that's not what it's called, but we're in church, so I won't say what it's really called, from Quesada. Gas, insurance for his beloved truck, and some mad money to hang out with the guys on the weekend. His bank account may not have been fat, but his soul was overflowing with joy, laughter, friends, and so much love for everyone and everything in his life. He was rich in ways that most of us can only dream of. Connor came into our lives with a lot of drama and excitement. He had his first helicopter ride when he was only a few hours old. He lived large and loud, so unbelievably loud. Then he left the same way he came, dramatic and fast. I know in my heart his story was written on the day he was born, that this was always how it was supposed to be. Maybe after surviving his delivery and all of these wonderful moments, days, years, they were all just a bonus. I mean, to be very thankful for the 22 years that we got to spend with him on his wild, crazy ride. We will always want more time. It was never going to be enough. But we can take peace in the knowledge that he had a perfect life. He had fabulous friends who were always up for a laugh. He loved his family dearly, especially Jackson, who he loved so fiercely above everyone and everything else. He had a family that truly loved him for all his silliness and kindness. He never worried about bills or stressed about work or school. He just coasted through life with a huge smile on his face. Nothing was ever an issue. Now he's forever 22, forever smiling, and forever our Connor Boo. We love him. Thank you.
Here I am. I'm Kira, Connor's sister. You all probably know that. If you don't know that, I'm Kira, Connor's sister. When I was a kid, I read this yesterday, so if you heard it before, I expect you to laugh at the same points. When I was a kid, I couldn't think of anyone more annoying than Connor. But as we grew older, I had a new word for him that still started with an A. Awesome. Laugh. Thank you. As we grew older, I had never mind, already said that. Anyways, Connor was the loudest, goofiest, and most fun person to be around. I remember telling my friends how awesome I thought it was when a couple weeks ago he decided to go to the lake with me and my friends, even though his friends are at the same lake. But I thought it was really cool as his older sister that he chose to hang out with me instead. And his friends were texting him. I guess they had plans that evening. They're asking, where are you? What's your ETA? And he laughed because he took special pleasure in bothering his friends. He wasn't going to respond. He wasn't going to tell them when they were coming because he was busy hanging with his big sister. I think about how fun the future would have been with Connor, and so many good times I've been robbed of here. How quiet everything sounds now. But it's hard to be sad when I think of Connor because I can just think of so many times where he was just genuinely insane. And one of the last Snapchats I received from him, he was working out in the dark. And I just think that's like really weird behavior, but he was riled right up. He was on that Peloton making numbers, guys. And he made me laugh so hard. I know I'll miss Connor for the rest of my life, but it's also hard to think of that because like when you see Jackson growing up so wild and confident and how that's an exact replica of Connor, and that Connor gave Jackson that confidence and security in life and all of his great friends that he brought around. It's just so amazing to see Jackson grow. So I'll be seeing Connor and Jackson as he gets older, I'm sure. Another time we were at the lake, and I think it was that same time, we're setting up a floaty and we're gonna go floating, and Connor's telling us to do this, do that, do this, and my friends and I, obviously older sisters, are arguing with him every step of the way. And he eventually just booms at us like, can you guys just trust me for a second? Which to our, obviously that's hard, it's Connor. How is he in charge here? But I've been thinking about how I worry about everything, and the world is just a worry, and I can see everything in the future and how it's gonna go wrong, but Connor never worried. He was just so secure and confident, and nothing was wrong for Connor. It was just gonna be fine. So when I find this whole experience difficult and hard, I think of Connor and how he'd handle this and how I trust him and I trust the way he handled things, and I trust that he'd be able to get through this. And I know we'll all get through it too. Thank you all for coming. If anyone else would like to come up and say anything too, it's an open mic, I should add that.
Hello. My name is Sam Cookson, for those of you that don't know me. I was one of the players that was on the team that he coached. And he was like a big brother to all of us, especially the linemen. He was like, when you showed up to practice and you saw Parsons, it was like, you know, it was going to be good. Even if we had to do conditioning because like people were jumping off sides or, you know, someone messed up their assignment, you know, it was just going to be fun. And one of the things that I was looking forward to the most was I was excited to coach with him next year because I'm graduating, but I know he's still going to be there when I'm making those younger guys run. So I'm excited to bring on his legacy to the rest of the Bayman linemen.
Oh, it was off. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh, or as these kids know me, Coach E, and I had the pleasure of coaching with Parsons for 2 whole seasons. And me and him were kind of like a tag team. We coached both the O&D line together, and there are countless, me and him off the field, we were not close at all. But on the field, we were 2 sides of the same coin. We were mom and dad to these kids, to the line at least. And there are so many stories of me and him just doing dumb stuff, like sending Mills jumbo formations, trying to get more linemen and hoggies on the field and take off receivers, and Mills would be like, no. And then we'd keep sending it until he'd eventually be like, okay. There was one time we came up with this package called Moto Moto, which was just like this jumbo formation where we took our center, Sam, put him at fullback, and tried to give him the ball because we just wanted to see chaos. Like, we loved our boys so much. And Parsons was the perfect calm. he was so calm and so reserved compared to a bunch of the other coaches who were just loudmouth, screaming, kicking, and Parsons would just stand there with his sunglasses and his backwards hat, and he'd just be like, yeah, okay, yeah. Or like there'd be moments where we'd throw ideas at him and he'd be like, that's stupid. And it was just like, you know what? There would be times where me and Carsons, we were mad scientists and we'd look at each other. There's a specific time, I guess I'll drop names. There was this kid in the first game me and him ever coached together named Riley McDonald, who was a great ball player. Great guy, great athlete. He's on the Rams now. And he had all the intangibles, but we saw they weren't using him on defense. And me and Parsons, Mowat was killing us. They were running outside of us, and they were gaining lots of yards, lots of yardage. And we didn't know what to do at a point. So me and Parsons looked at each other. We looked at Riley McDonald. We looked at each other again. And then we looked at McGilvery. And we looked at each other again. And then we both went up to McGilvery and we're like, can we take this guy and put him at defensive end? And then, the rest was history. The kid was a baller. But there were so many times, I remember rooming with Parsons when we went up to Vernon for a playoff game. And me and Parsons were totally different people. Had nothing to talk about outside of football. Literally that night, we stayed up till 2 a.m. watching game film and just went to bed. We barely knew each other. But it was the most awkwardest thing in the world to be in a room with someone, watch football with them, talk football, have nothing else to talk about, go to bed, wake up, and coach teenagers and try to convince them to go to war. That was football. That was coaching with Parsons. And it was hilarious, and it was some of the craziest times of our lives. Parsons, man, was a great coach. If you weren't coached by him, you wouldn't understand. But he was the perfect big brother in the sense that he understood tough love. And that's something that not a lot of coaches understood, but Parsons did. He understood when to be the good guy, but more better, he understood when to be the tough SOB that he was. And so, yeah, thank you all for listening.
For those of you that don't know me, my name's Cole. Connor was one of my best friends. He was my best friend. Not only was he a friend to me, he was a brother to me. I have known that man since kindergarten. And the very first week, I still remember to this day, I was sitting at a table scribbling on a piece of paper, and he came up to me, taps me on the shoulder. Wasn't a question, he just goes, me and you. Lego right now. And from that day forward, me and him were inseparable. Throughout the years, kindergarten to grade 12, me and him were always friends. He's the man that got me to play football. He got me out of my comfort zone. He genuinely changed the person I am. And I'm forever grateful for that. He is somebody who he was and is the toughest person that I know. And I think I will ever know. And I'm going to miss him a lot. Yeah. From the late nights me and him spent at my place, the late nights that he would live at my place for weeks on end, the 4 a.m. nights in the basement where we would be laughing about things that made absolutely no sense, or the nights that we had deep, meaningful conversations. He brought me out of dark places. He was always there, no matter what we went through, no matter what he was going through, no matter how much time we had spent apart. No matter when I saw him, every single time, it's like I saw him yesterday. And he's just one of those guys who never changes, not for anybody. Everyone here knows who he was. He treats everybody exactly the same, and he will not change for anyone. And I love that guy. I'm always going to love him, and I'm never going to forget him. He's, to this day, and will always be one of the best people I've ever known. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick, and I went to elementary school with him, so I've known him for a really long time. And one of the first memories I have with him, I was walking past at Prince Charles, and he goes, "Hey, you watch R-rated movies?" And I told him, I like Lord of the Rings. He asked me if there was any swearing in it, and I said, "No, I'm not sure, man." And he goes, "Swearing's awesome. Watch this." There was a kid that walked by, and he says, "Hey, dude, shut up." As if shut up was a swear word back in elementary school. I told him that story within the last year, and he put his hand over his eyes, and he was like, "Bro." And I know that meant, I swear, if you ever tell that story again, I'll bite your head off. I know he was embarrassed by it, but he was the kind of guy that went through life trying to be the coolest, and he was. He wanted everybody to think he was cool, but underneath all that, he was so forgiving, so caring, and so goofy. He's the coolest guy I know, and I'll love him forever.
I think that's enough silence there. We're going to play a little slideshow video of Connor in a second once we get it set up. So just a heads up.
This is yours. So I didn't even grab a plate. Yes, you did. You took the money.